Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christopher as always. This is part 3 of my greenhouse build, the geothermal greenhouse. So this was actually filmed in May just to get that out. And yeah, it was before all the snow had left, and I was hoping to release this earlier, but I was hoping to get everything finished a little bit earlier also. So I was planning on using some additional footage in this video, but that's not the way that it happened, so I'm just releasing it as is. And hopefully you can enjoy some of the things that I've been doing. So for those of you who have been following me and saw my part 2 in the series of the geothermal greenhouse, you saw that I was digging out half the space, half the area of the actual greenhouse. And I was putting in pipes and everything for my geothermal experiment. And I was actually considering just doing half, but as time passed, I got a few months to think because things were going slow. So I decided on doing the other half also, and I wanted to do it a little bit different because when I released the first video, I got a ton of positive feedback and really a lot of views on it. I think people are really interested in the concept, and but I also got some comments that were I wouldn't say negative, but was of the more careful side of it. They were discussing about how this was actually going to work, and the way that I did it was probably not the best solution. And I would say that I agree with most of the comments. I wouldn't say that it's just as clear as black and white for me. It's more a matter of fine details also, I think, once the whole thing is finished. And I'm not showing everything that I'm doing, and the way my mind works is not entirely on the internet, so I have some plans also that will cover up for a few of the things that were talked about. But the main point was that in my last build I used 2 pipes totally in the total length of 100 meter each, and they are the corrugated pipes, and they are really hard to push air through. So the complaint was that they were just too long. 100 meters is way too long to get some sort of efficiency out of it at all. And from a physical point of view, I would totally agree on that. Now there is the point that this is in gravel, so and it's perforated, so the air will jump from one pipe to another pipe through gravel also. And for those of you who are saying that, well, that's not going to happen, that's just what happened. So I did test this, and I got actually surprisingly good airflow through the first part of it. So I'm really excited about the next part, because in this on this side of the greenhouse I wanted to do more like the way that I was watching the last videos online about how to do this. And what I wanted to do was to make one endpoint go down into the ground and have it separate into 10 or so pipes that would just run the length of the greenhouse and then join back together into one pipe and back into the greenhouse. So the air wouldn't have to travel more than, say, 10-12 meters or something. And that's supposed to really reduce the amount of push that the air have to, or the fan have to do to get the air through the pipes. And I think this is probably, if I had done some more research before I started the whole thing, I would probably do both sides this way. I'm not saying that the first part won't work. It will most definitely, because as I said, I've been testing it, and there's gonna be just a separate video on on the small tests that I've been doing so far, and I'm not going to wait until I have satisfactory results before I tell you. I'm just going to lay out my results as I go along, and I have nothing to hide here, and I'm most interested into getting all the data raw out from all my tests, and that's something that will be coming up in not the next episode, but the episode after that on the geothermal greenhouse. So this one also was dug down to about 2 meters, and once everything is backfilled, I think it's at least 2 meters, and I wanted to get as far down as possible. So the whole thing is very close to the depth of the old hole that I dug out. And I was a little bit skeptical of digging also, but it was a full winter later. So as you can see there was some of the gravel from the other hole that actually fell out there. And it was important to get as close as possible to the old part, just to be able to make the gravel connect between the holes. And also I put down a drain pipe, and as you can see, that's a fairly substantial thing about this build, as it turns out, because now it's May, and we've been having some crazy melting when the footage was made, and I just quickly realized that I was going to need some substantial drainage, more than I was actually planning on. And so what I ended up deciding to do was to dig a trench all the way out to the road that you see on the side there. Now I of course dropped my camera into the hole from the roof of the garage where I'm filming, so the darn thing just broke, and there was quite a bit of days that I didn't have a camera to film the process, so I'm sorry about that. But I eventually ended up digging all the way down to the road there, and at the end of the video I will just show a couple of pictures that I took from the pipe that I laid all the way out there. So I just put down some corrugated pipes, and I covered it with gravel, and I put some lining over it, and it worked perfectly. It started to drain out, and the whole plot just dried up. And once I completely sealed the hole, I checked the pipes immediately, and they were free of water immediately. So both the new hole and the old hole that I dug last year was completely open, and the drainage was working perfectly. So if you're going to build something like this, I would say that please consider doing some real drainage, because often you're going to do this at midsummer or the end of the season, and the water in the soil is not going to be substantial enough to measure to how bad it's actually going to be in springtime. And at least for us, we had actually close to 1.5 meters of snow last winter, and yeah, it was really important. So I just, as you can see, I put down a drain pipe there, and just a hose to drain as I was digging, and one of these garden hoses was sufficient to drain as fast as it was flowing in. So it was actually flowing really well from the drainage pipe. Once I dug all the way on the side into the drainage pipe that I put down for the other hole, it was actually flowing water through that drainage pipe. So everything that I did and was working as expected, I would say. So yeah, there you can see the pipe that I'm putting down there, and it's just a simple pipe, same as I use for the geothermal pipes also, but it's on a lower level, I would say. So everything was dug, and as you can see, it actually started to snow, so it wasn't really summer yet. And then I started to backfill, And as you can see there, I hadn't dug all the way down there, but that was just because I needed to do things in steps, because there was a lot of soil, and the field down beneath there was actually going to be harvested later in the summer, so I couldn't just dump soil all over, so I had to do everything in steps. So I started with placing some gravel to the drainage pipe, and I quickly backfilled the hole so I could actually get the excavator onto the other side. And a few people pointed out that, well, it doesn't look like it's professional people driving the excavator, and you're damn straight it's not professional people. I'm just a hobby gardener doing computer work on my work time, and on the evenings I like to experiment with things. So yes, by all means, I'm not a professional. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, it probably would be better if I got a professional to do the whole thing. But yeah, I like experimenting with these things, and I really enjoy doing this kind of work. So yeah, it's all fun for me. This isn't anything that's going to be commercial anytime soon, and I don't have ambition of making this commercial at all. This is just for fun, and that really makes it easy for me to experiment with all my crazy ideas. So I started to put down some more gravel. I of course got help from my good dad also this year. And so he's like an ant. You just can't get him away. He's whenever there's some work, he's always gonna be there helping. So I really appreciate that. And it was easy to be two people for the next steps of putting down the pipes and everything, because I was down there shoveling, and he was putting in the gravel, and we wanted to make it as even as possible. After I put down the drainage pipe, there was and this was a few days later than the last clips, where I dug the hole and you saw all the water. So everything was actually draining as it should, and it wasn't seeping water through the gravel at all. So there you can see the new layout from the pipes. I think there was 7 or 8 separate runs of pipe going through there, and they're all connected into the same pipe at the end, and it's perforated, everything that's in the gravel. But as soon as you get to the ends there, and the end pipe and also the pipe up to the greenhouse is not perforated, so I wouldn't have the problem of soil seeping, of air seeping through the soil at the higher levels in the soil. So that's a thing that I actually did wrong on my last hole. I should have, of course, cut it and connected a pipe that wasn't perforated for the last 2 meters, but I didn't think of that, and of course I'm going to pay with shoveling on that part. So I'm just gonna have to shovel a little bit down, dig a little bit on the sides of the pipes, and connect a completely sealed pipe on the rest of it. So as you can see, there were two separate layers of pipes also on this build, and it actually turned out to be working really, really well. I would have to say that this is probably going to work. I'm actually starting to think that this is actually going to work. And I put down some red pipes there, and these are all pipes just for sensors. So I'm going to have temperature sensors there to measure everything, and I want to also be able to measure the airflow through the pipes. So the next video, now that I'm actually sitting here editing this video, and I'm going to release this, the next video is actually already in the making. The greenhouse is completely built now, and I finally got it up 2 days before the snow came, so I'm really satisfied with that. So the next video will be up in about a week or something, part 4, so it's gonna be a little bit more exciting, and we'll just have to take it from there. So I did the same thing that I did on the last build. I put some fabric down and to separate the gravel from the soil, and I also insulated the walls. And it doesn't look good at all when you see it like this now, but I broke the camera, as I said, so I didn't have footage to show everything, but I managed to get everything straightened up and backfilled on the back side of the plates, so everything looks as it should now, and I think the whole thing went as planned. So I'm just gonna finish off with a couple of images sorry, of the build of the pipe, the drainage pipe, and also an image that shows how my camera looks. So this is Christopher saying may the force be with you, and I really hope that you will stay subscribed and continue following me into the next video of this greenhouse build.